Hello and thanks for watching another Sunday case study. This week's celebrity palm reading is Neymar Jr. or Neymar Jr. I don't know how to pronounce this person's name. I know nothing about this person, and the only reason why I'm reading this person's palm is because someone in the comments suggested reading this person's palm. So that's why I'm going to give it a go, and the purpose really is to kind of see if palmistry can distinguish or discover things about this person that you might not know, that I couldn't possibly know. And by the end of it, hopefully, we will have discovered a few interesting facts about this person. Now, luckily for me, this person likes to do lots of these sort of gestures. I believe it's a sort of celebratory gesture, and I'm not entirely certain why, but in any case, it's very handy for me, forgive the pun, because it allows me to see this person's palms in a lot more detail. So, let's give it a go. Now, this chap is an air hand, not the usual kind of hand shape I would associate with a footballer. Normally I would think a footballer as a fire or an earth hand, and the way I determine this is quite simply because we measure the length of the finger, these are long fingers, against the length of the palm. If the fingers are 7/8 of the palm's length or longer, we know we have long fingers. And so this is a square palm and long fingers, hence an air hand. So air hands are very sort of intellectual, they like debate, they are always constantly moving in terms of their thoughts and ideas, they like concepts, they're motivated by discussions and documentaries. So these aren't normally the kind of things you would associate with a footballer. So, you know, the air hand classically has long fingers, usually held apart, the deep, clear lines engraved into the palm, the creative curve here. Now look at the headline, and you can see there's a creative curve, and that obviously helps with, this person's ability to get past others. I don't know what position this person plays, probably a striker, most famous footballers are. I'm totally clueless, but there's a lot of creativity to this person, and this is a kind of physical creativity, but they might also have other aspects about them. I'm looking already to see if I can clarify other kind of creative abilities here. Rounded or spatulate fingertips. This goes with someone who's very instinctive, thinks on their feet, and the usual fingerprints are loops or arches, either adaptable or, kind of very stubborn and following the rules. So an air hand, very interesting. They have a need to look for and absorb information, pass knowledge on. They require they're good communicators normally, and this person certainly, I would think this person is certainly a good communicator. This is the Mercury finger here, and this is a finger of expression and communication. And when it's long, when it reaches past the first tip of Apollo here, we know we have a long Mercury finger. The Mercury is also high set. This shows a desire to learn information and get their message across is quite strong. This shows a clear and strong communicator. This is someone who's not afraid to get their point across. Air hands always have a need to exchange ideas and connect with other people about their thoughts. And as I say, they're interested in debates and discussions, hot topics. And as a result, they often require a partner who is equally as intelligent and able to communicate their thoughts and ideas as well. As the element suggests, they're kind of in the clouds. Their mind is always up here. They're just constantly moving mentally, and because of that, they often travel. I don't want to say that they're constantly moving physically, because that's not necessarily true, but they desire experiences and learning, and that often comes with travel, change. They're very opposite to the earth hand in that respect, actually. Change, they adapt quite well, generally speaking, to change. They're generally very adaptable people, unless they have these arched fingerprint patterns, as I've mentioned. So, they're versatile, witty, great conversation, but they're also a bit high-strung at times. Air hands can be very sort of anxious people. I don't think that's this person here. We don't see lots of scatty lines messing the whole picture up here. We don't see anxiety. with curvature in the lines, and in the overall features of the palm itself, what we actually see is versatility, adaptability, flexibility. We see an ability to respond, adapt, and react to situations and stimuli. So just to provide a clearer idea as to, whether this is an air hand, look, this is the length of the finger here, and we can measure that against the length of the palm. It's clearly 7/8 of the palm or longer. So we have long palm and square palm and long fingers. So just looking closer at the palm here now, we're looking at the chirognomy aspect of the palm, and that is the shape of the hands and the fingers still. And you can see, let's start with the lunar mount. You can see it's bulging here. And you always see this with famous people who want to be famous, who want to be in the public eye. Luna is this place of travel, it's exploration, it's fantasy, and it's imagination. It's not creativity as such. Creativity is more in the headline, and it reaches into this bank of imagination. So Luna, when we want to escape, when our desires are strong to fantasize and imagine and dream the unconscious realm, all of these aspects are heightened when we see a developed lunar mount, and we see this here. So we always see this with the desire to be famous, and again this ties in with this need to travel and have experiences and learn and soak up information and learn more about the world. And on that note of fame here, look, notice how we've got here, that's not a good example. The fingers, still not a good example. Apollo and Jupiter are level with each other. And that's always a sign of fame in palmistry. And that shows that a person's ego is in line with their talents. There's a balance here. This person doesn't have an overinflated opinion of their talents and abilities. They're able to judge. This is the finger of judgment, ambition, ego, authority, decision making. So they're able to make decisions in a balanced manner in terms of their abilities. Now that is key for someone who is an athlete, or someone who is using their body, responding in the moment, thinking in the moment. And you generally see people who are racing car drivers, anyone who is a sportsman or an athlete or racing in some sort of way, anyone who has to react in the moment, cyclists, skiers, runners, footballers, tennis players, all of these sports people and athletes have rounded fingertips. This shows this kind of quick, responsive thinking. The one noticeable difference about the fingertips here, the odd one out really, is the Jupiter finger. And this is ever so slightly more pointed, still rounded, but just with a slight kind of point going on. And this shows a desire to, first of all, a pointed, a more conic finger rather than rounded shows intuition. It shows an instinctive ability to decision make. That's what this is showing. And ego and ambition is more sort of intuitive, on the spot kind of thinking. This is a quick thinker, a very quick decision maker. And that, again, it just perfectly, it makes sense. And I would think, I'd see this of all the same kinds of people of, similar career nature. We see Mercury, the finger of communication and expression, curving in ever so slightly towards Apollo. And that really shows this person's ability to communicate and express relies on their talents. And, Apollo is what makes us shine. It's who we are as a person, who we are, seen, how we are seen by others, the outside world. This is reputation and glory and vanity. So when Mercury kind of leans in a little, it does suggest that, all things beautiful as well. This is the tip of Apollo, that this person has an appreciation for physical beauty, natural beauty. And so when we see a kind of a widened basal phalanx of Jupiter, and this as well, we know this person enjoys physical beauty. So a widened basal phalanx, this width here, shows a strong kind of urge of satiating sort of physical needs and desires. And as I say, Mercury is the finger of communication and expression, and sex is no exception. That comes under the umbrella of expression as well. We're physical beings, and this is certainly a very physical person. He's very physically expressive and driven in that respect. So this is certainly a person who he's a highly sexual person. This is, someone with a high sex drive, and that's what this shows. A large amount of Venus shows warmth, compassion, a kind of a loving nature. Venus is the area of home, stability, friendship, love, relationships, family. It's the familiar. And it's also our, it's our love life as well to some degree. It's our ability, it's our desire, just desire full stop really. But also it's charisma. So this is a highly charismatic person. And it's also our bank of, constitution. It's our vitality. It's our immune system as well. So you always see with athletes a very strong, full-bodied Venus mount, also with this mount of Luna as well. And when you have a strong mount of Neptune as well, this sort of bridges the gap and allows their charisma to the outside world. As I mentioned before, this is this need to travel and escape, and when we reach out to the outside world, we rely on Luna in some way. And just looking here, it looks like Neptune is quite strong. And along with this kind of ever so slightly pointed tip here, I would think this person, as I say, is not afraid to get their opinions and thoughts across. It wouldn't surprise me if this is the sort of person who takes part in interviews, likes to share their thoughts and ideas and opinions, and is quite sort of opinionated. They're probably quite good at holding an audience, probably quite captivating in the way that they handle themselves when they express verbally, and that's denoted by the strong, all three are measured really, but there's a strong tip of Mercury. So it's probably quite a good persuader, someone who's able to convince others, and likely able to have good diplomacy skills as well. So let's get on with the chirology, and that is the study of the palmar lines in palmistry. And what's really interesting to me is, well, let's just go over the kind of basics here. We've got a lifeline that's connected with the headline for probably up until the age of about, I'm going to say 18, 19, 18. And that shows when we have connected life and headline, it shows caution. It shows that this person isn't rash, that although they have an ability to think on their feet, and they're very quick thinkers, they're someone who's able to react quickly, physically, in the moment, based on a decision that's very sort of intuitive, they're not in any way rash. They don't make decisions that are careless. They're actually quite cautious people. But this, is actually a really healthy age for the lifeline to break away from the headline, and it shows at this age this person began their independence. This is where they really started to fly from the nest. Now, as I say, this headline is just a wonderful arc. This is exactly what you want to see in someone who requires creativity. And you'll see this kind of arc on the hands of graphic designers, fashion designers, architects. All sorts of industries rely on creativity. And this is not generally the kind of headline I would associate with a footballer, but then obviously, creativity is a word used very often, I've heard anyway, in the industry. And what's really interesting as well is the kind of the straightness of this lifeline. And I'm not doing a good job here, but you get my meaning. I associate this again with, I'm starting to associate this kind of straightness with persistence and determination and drive. And for me, again, this is kind of another sign of fame. And I've seen this in Darren Brown's hand. And actually, I've seen it in the last palm reading 51 I did of a fire hand. There's a very similar straightness, a kind of single-minded purpose. There's a drive and ambition here. The other things I want to go over here are, these lines here. These look like travel lines, but this is something different, and this is something different again. And I want to get to the bottom of what these lines mean. I'm going to get to this in a little bit. But first of all, and you have to look pretty closely for this, you can just about see, and it's not clear and deep, but it is there. There's a recess here, and this is the Mercury line, and it runs from the lifeline and it reaches upwards. And now I've mentioned this before. This is a mark of deep intuition, and you often see this as associated with business people. People in business require great instincts, and as I say, this person has great instincts. And when we see it reaching from the lifeline like this, I'll be a bit more accurate here. This is more or less what it looks like. When you see it reaching from the lifeline like this, a V shape like this, it's actually known as the mark of the vampire in Russian palmistry, and it's taken very seriously over there. Protection from vampires is what it's really known as. And what this really creates is a lot of good fortune, and you could put this down to, you could say, well, this person has gotten where they are because of this luck, this lucky sign in their palm. But then you could also interpret this as intuition, and the reasons for how they've gotten where they are is because of the excellent decisions they've made, the intuitive, instinctive ability to just know what to do and when to do it. The heart line is an interesting one because there's a bit of curvature going on here. Whoops. And you can see that, and I don't know if this is the image, but first of all, I'll just mention that a heart line that begins in between Saturn and Jupiter is someone that is a very sort of well-balanced person in terms of their emotional makeup, their ability to sense sort of right and wrong. Their conscience is quite strong. They're not selfish, I would thought. It's hard to see because it's a bit of a blurry image, but I would think this ends about here, which shows, as I say, a well-balanced nature. And it looks like the heart line is actually kind of fading just underneath Apollo, which is a possible sign of fading of eyesight. So this person may well wear contact lenses or begin to start wearing them. Now then, I have just found out something that is quite remarkable, and it relates to this part of the hand here. I'm going to get around to explaining what this means right at the very end of the video, but for now I want to see if I can get to down to, well, these are travel lines. These are later in life, and I would say that this is about the age of late 50s. So this one is probably about the age of about 60, and it's a long distance travel. And then we've got another longer one again, probably about 5 years later, so that might be moving back home. And I say that because notice the lifeline as it swings outwards away from the thumb, it curls back, it wraps right back around again. So I'm thinking that this person moves away for a period of about 5 years from the age of about 60 to 65, maybe 67, and they move back to their native homeland again. But this right here is something else entirely. So I've already mentioned Luna, and that's this mount here, but lower down here is actually Pluto, and this is a very sort of undiscovered area in palmistry, the area of Pluto, and what it means for us. And so far, the things I've learned about Pluto is that it's a kind of a deeper pocket of Luna. It's deeper memories, it's deeper imagination, it's deeper dreams, it's more profound, and it's an area that's much farther away, and it's much more, there's less control around us, it's more sort of unconscious, because the area of Luna is the unconscious, and these are kind of uncontrolled thoughts and feelings and desires. This is a very much an undiscovered area of our brain and psyche anyway. So to have an even more a deeper, further away kind of expanse of this is something that's even more outside of our control. And so Pluto, it shows us when we have a line creeping in like this, this is an event that is completely outside of this person's control, that will affect them at the age of around about. So I've had a bit of a reassessment here, and as far as I can see, this person will actually move 55, and that's this line right here. They will move back home, and that's this line right here, and then there will be some sort of unknown event that affects them in their life at the age of about 67. Now, this line creeping in here from the kind of the lifeline is actually a reset, and this person has 3 resets, which is good. And in medieval palmistry, each reset provided boosted a person with luck. but I'm not entirely certain that's true. And they also said that it provided 25 or 30 years to a person's life. Each one, created, a possibility for that sort of longevity. I don't really put all much faith in that. That's, we've learned a lot in palmistry since then in the West. So just to get a bit more clarity, I'm looking at the left hand here, and we can actually see a bit of a flick off the headline here, reaching towards Mars, outer Mars, or Mars positive, as I believe it's sometimes referred to. And it shows a desire to make money, a desire to kind of enforce that kind of material security. And we also see this line right here on Jupiter, and it's kind of like an extension of the where the phalanx is separated. It's interesting because on the left hand it kind of appears that the Jupiter finger pulls away from the rest of the fingers towards the thumb. See it a tiny bit on the right hand as well, and this shows a very sort of independent thinker. This is probably someone who, as I say, is very opinionated and likes to do things their way or the highway. But this isn't someone that's doing it, these are measured responses. This is just someone who is very certain of themselves. And these are not bad things, but they may well have some negative consequences because it rubs people up the wrong way. So I'm just trying to get a bit more clarity from another image here, and we can actually see that the heart line does in fact reach right up onto Jupiter. And this shows idealism. This is not a person who is selfish by any means, and they expect a lot from themselves and probably a lot from others. And also the gap, the space between the headline and the heart line shows warmth of character. This is a giving character. This is probably someone who's quite charitable. And the width of this person's hand is an excellent sign in terms of being able to sort of judge and manage people in difficult situations, probably able to facilitate difficult discussions. And it is possible to see in this image here, you've got a little line that kind of comes in from, this inner Mars here, this place of drive and motivation. This is determination. This is that kind of turns into an ambition line. So we've got here, and it reaches right up towards. Let's get a bit more clarity. It reaches right up towards Apollo, and maybe even kind of partially towards Mercury in this place of talents and expression and reputation, glory. Often when we see a line that reaches towards Saturn, it's more about academia, it's more about the career and bettering, in a place, of courses, language, skills acquired related to a job role that enables us. And so this often relates to, university degree. But when we see a line, an ambition line, an effort line, pulling away towards Mercury, towards Apollo, this is our ivory tower. It's the outside, it's how we reveal ourselves to the outside world with our talents, with the way we shine, with the way we communicate and express ourselves, with the way we show off. It shows that this person has risen into popularity through their talents and abilities to shine. So, as promised, I'm going to get to this little gem of information right here. Now, the phalanges of the fingers, they represent different areas of skills and attributes, character traits and things like that. This phalanx here, the second phalanx of Jupiter, corresponds to executive decision making, but also the phalanges of the fingers represent the months of the year. And when we see a clear kind of horizontal lines in palmistry generally are obstacles. They block sort of energies, the current path. And so as we work our way through the months of the year, this is the month of May. Now, I don't know when this picture was taken. It could be over a year old. I'm not entirely certain. But in the month of May, for this person, there is or has been an obstacle. Now, for those of you that know this person and follow their career, this might mean something to you, it might mean something to this person, but there is a clear obstacle here, and it's around the month of May for this person. Now, the person who suggested this palm reading in the first place said, maybe you can share some insights as to why this person is so unlucky. And as I say, I don't know anything about this person, but from what I've seen in their palms, actually, I see quite a bit of luck. I mean, as I say, that could be interpreted as actually, luck is down to circumstance, and our circumstances are governed by our current and past actions a lot of the time. So, luck is subjective. I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not entirely certain this person is unlucky, and I think a lot of the poor luck that they encounter is as a result of their own actions rubbing people up the wrong way. As I say, this is someone who's very outspoken, who has strong thoughts and feelings and ideas, who is constantly searching and absorbing information and learning and bouncing these ideas off other people. And so they feel quite strongly about these things. They are outspoken with these. Whereas a lot of other footballers perhaps just get on with it, this person perhaps rubs people up the wrong way and is messing their own career up by maybe the way they are communicating their message. So that's my sort of interpretation and thoughts on this person here. I think they do things their own way. I think they're probably, I'm not going to say stubborn, because actually I think they're very flexible and adaptable people. I think they are quite accustomed to change in a lot of respects. But I think they know their own mind, and there is not a lot of... There's no sitting on the fence with this person. This person enjoys debate, and as a result, I think they likely get themselves into a little bit of trouble. And as I say, the month of May or have been or will be trouble for this person. So let me know what your thoughts are, and I would like to see those comments. I'd like to see everyone subscribing if that's possible. And thank you for this suggestion. If you've got any others, or if you've got your own thoughts, or you want to put something across about this person, then let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.